How you doing? My name is VJ Smith and my co-host. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you.
Well, great, great. I'm glad to have you on today. Man, it's good to see you. Good to have you on. I want to say big thanks to Valerie Lockhart. Thank you so much, Valerie. God bless you. We're so happy that you're making this available to us so that we can do this. John, they had a big thing going on, John, that if you are African American, you ain't got to worry about the virus. When it started, everybody's like, hey, man, God is doing a thing. He getting all the white folks, blah, 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 blah. And what's happening now? Now there's an increase in certain states for African Americans. And so all that bragging that folks were doing at the beginning, yeah, we ain't gonna get it. It's our melanin, it's our skin, it's in our. What happened, brother? What
Well,
happened?
I sort of knew that we were more susceptible to this disease in the first place because every disease, African Americans' immune system and our healthcare system for us is broken. Okay, and we've every disease that comes through, we're top of the chart. If the flu comes through, it's us. It's things of that nature, and I don't know if it's a combination of our own health. We were not born in this country. This is like we're adapting to it, and even though it's been a number of years, we're still adapting to it, and we don't have the health resources that other communities have, and we don't go to the doctor as much. So us, we get a cold, we just lay down and drink some NyQuil. you know, Other
Yeah.
people, I mean, so some of it's on us, but I think some of it's on the system.
Well, that's why I say be careful about rumors and what you hear, man. That this that people are telling folks this disease wasn't designed for us. We don't have to worry about it. That's not true. As of yesterday alone, 18 1,800 people died yesterday alone in the United States, just in one day.
Hmm.
In one day, 1,800, and then it's hitting places really hard, like Detroit and Louisiana, places like that. People are really being affected. Uh, Los Angeles said, John, if you got your people in a nursing home, they advise you to go get them, take them home.
Yeah, absolutely. But our people usually can't. When African Americans are in nursing homes, it's because there's they can't be taken care of at home. You know,
Right.
we tend to keep our people as long as we possibly can until they need that care that the nursing home provides and stuff. So if you're not capable enough or have the right stuff to take care of your elderly people at home, I don't suggest taking them home.
How do you feel? They had a conference call. I missed it on the African American community and the effects of coronavirus in the future. But if all this money, stimulus money, is going out, you got to believe that it's going to have a huge impact on programming for African American nonprofits, for programming for crime prevention, for programming for public safety, for Head Start programs. That you got to believe that that money is going to have to get absorbed somewhere. We're not just going to have a big dump of money and then still keep business as usual. What are your thoughts about this?
Well, one of the things about the stimulus thing, if you didn't file taxes, which a lot of our people did not last year, you ain't getting nothing. You ain't getting no money. And I reason a lot of our people are on Social Security. A lot of our people are on welfare. Those people did not file tax returns. So this is sort of a slap in the face to Americans in general, saying, well, if you got problems, you ain't gonna get no money. That's one part of this. The other part of this is small nonprofits and nonprofits of color. If you don't get in right away, and if you don't have a great grant writer that knows how to write the language, the money won't go to the most needy. It will go to the ones that have the best grant writers. That's where the
Mm.
money will go. And I know some of the money was, it came up one day and the next day it was shut down. I mean, because the banks had so many applicants, they just had to shut it down. And that's if you have if you work at a place that has 2 or 3 people that can do that kind of stuff, that can focus on getting the grants right, getting all that. it's sort of unfair again, to small nonprofits. It's really unfair to the ones that don't have a assistance with grant writing.
Well, we got right on it, and we've already got 2 rejection letters already. We
Hmm.
got right on top of it. Hit our deadlines, everything. We got 2 Dear Johns already. Oh man, so we got I don't know why they all have to have the same message. We got so many people that applied for this money and that money that unfortunately we just could not fund them all. And they were great applicants and they were great individuals and they were great companies. Matter of fact, they were amazing, but we just couldn't fund them all. We could only fund our friends.
Mhm. Well, a lot of nonprofit organizations had somebody at 12 o'clock midnight hitting the button. I mean, it's sort of like they didn't tell you how that they would run out of money. But the people, some people knew they
Right.
may run out of money, and they were prepared.
Well, the mayor said he could only help 200 businesses and 2,000 families.
Hmm.
That's what the mayor said
Okay.
of Minneapolis. That's all I can do. I can do 200 businesses and 2,000 families. That's it. Now, when you think about how many families we got in Minneapolis,
There's a lot of them.
right?
There's a
So don't expect that money to come through for you. Don't expect that stimuli to come through for you. And if you don't know how to write, if you never wrote for anything like this, don't expect anything at all because they're going to look at the quality and the craftsmanship of how you communicate on paper. That's going to be important. I just think that, and then the homeless people, they've reserved 2 hotels for homeless people. But what are they going to do? How are they going to go back to a reasonable sense of life? It's going to be tough. The shelters, everything's full, and nobody's paying. But you got to keep the shelters full, and nobody's paying. Like the guy said at People Serving People, he says, "Man, we can't. We're not used to being forced to be like this. We're used to letting people go to their apartments and then kind of getting some new people in and starting over. We're full and just stuck."
Yeah. We were not prepared for this epidemic, and I don't think you can blame anybody. People throwing blame around, but nobody was prepared for this, especially in Minnesota where spring was coming and the shelters saying, "Whoo, we're gonna get a break." Man, and then they got overran, and then we lost one major shelter, so we were down in the first place. um,
Right.
the reason why we have shelters is because people are not doing well in our state. The more shelters you have proves how bad people are doing, and most of our shelters are full with African Americans.
Now, which one did we lose?
The Drake Hotel.
That's right.
Yeah.
We lost the Drake Hotel, and that housed about 200 or 300 people, I think.
Yes, that was a great place, for families to go to and everything, and they never replaced it. They didn't
Well,
replace it.
well, the governor has asked for federal dollars. I think the governor is doing an excellent job.
Yeah,
You
he is.
know, and uh, he asked for more assistance, and he sent a letter to the president, Mr. Donald Trump, and he asked Donald Trump for major disaster relief funds for Minnesota, and hopefully we can get that to improve unemployment, community infrastructure, and healthcare facilities. We're going to need that on this fight. So, from my understanding today, he's extended it another 2 weeks.
Well, I think he's supposed to talk on Friday about extending stay at home at least another 2 weeks. I think it's going to be extended a
I
month.
think he just announced it, John. I think he just
Okay.
announced it. I got a
At
call.
2 o'clock. Okay.
I got a call that he announced it at I think noon, maybe that he announced it. I'm not sure,
Hmm.
but it was announced. From my understanding, we'll have to find out. But
Brother,
it's
you need
been
a nap
extended
or
for another.
something. You need a nap, man.
It's been extended for another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So this whole social distancing thing, Easter's coming up. Bunnies are on sale already, John. You can get a Easter bunny now for about $4. They
Yeah,
cost normally 15. What's it gonna do? I mean, Easter Sunday is huge, especially in our community. It's one of the biggest days. We all get together, we come together, we eat, we bond, you see folks you ain't seen all year. You
maybe
know, they
maybe maybe this Easter will focus on what it's supposed to be focused on. You know,
not the bunny,
huh?
not the bunny,
Not the bunny. It ain't about the bunny. It's
not
about
about the eggs.
our Lord and Savior. It's about our personal relationship with Him and our families. People can have church at home, man. People. Somebody sent me a brother Nate, a Reverend named Brother Nate. I call him. He was in our program. Sent me a thing. He
Right.
said maybe God is saying, you know what? I'm gonna take away everything that you worship. He said, you won't go to church, so I'm going to take away your ability to go to church. You want to worship football team? I'm taking them away. You want to worship basketball teams? They gone too. You want to worship money? The stock market, I'm going to crash that. I looked at one of my investments today and I lost 10%. I mean, when you start losing 10% of anything, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So maybe this is a wake up call. I don't believe that this virus is a God thing, that God said, I'm gonna put a virus on the land and stuff. I think it's of our own doing, our own messing around with things and stuff and re-engineering things. And I think that we're gonna have to pull together as a nation to be safe. And we gotta help
Well,
people less fortunate.
and how is John? Let's talk a little bit about how life has changed for you since you've already got health issues. How
Mhm.
has this changed life for you?
Well, I'm in that group that they say most
High
at risk,
risk.
high risk, African American, over 65, medical conditions. Um, those are my high risk things. I hit all the numbers basically, and so I have to be a little more careful. You know, I got a grandson and a wife at home. I can't, if I get sick, I don't know what's going to happen to them. I have a less chance of survival. And the other thing is that they only got so many respirators. So if I'm in the hospital and they got 10 respirators and they got 12 people and I'm the oldest, I don't think I'm going to get the respirator. you know
Yeah.
So yeah, I just have to take care of my health, man.
So life is pretty much like a lot of people our age. Life has changed. You know,
Well,
uh,
not for
I'm
you,
a,
not for you. You're busier than ever. Life has changed for the rest of us.
okay, John. Thank you very much, sir, for putting it out there like that. I'm really trying to stay, you know, uh, to myself. It's really hard. A brother came, man, and a sister came and man, we wanted to hug, and I'm learning not to do it.
Yeah,
I'm, I'm learning. I got all these handshakes I want to do, and I, I'm learning not to do it. You know,
yeah.
um, we I had to have an emergency staff meeting, so I had to bring six of us together. It was an emergency, but it is hard. It is hard to watch. Our community. Folks are so frustrated, and they they really don't know what to do with themselves. They already didn't have structure, and now that they can't go outside, they don't even know what to do with themselves when they're at home, where they could be connecting with their families and doing things. And people are starting to do a lot of crime. Burglaries are up.
Yeah, and
Burglary.
even in your own mission statement, what your name says, men against destruction, defending against drugs and social disorder. Well, destruction is happening right now, and social disorder and drugs are happening right now. So for everybody else, it's their time to, rest and reflect and stuff. But the destruction of our communities and stuff, there is no taking time off. The police can't
Right.
take time off. Fire department can't take time off. So my dad's, I mean, as much as I like to keep you safe, I know that who else is going to do it? Nobody else is
Well,
going to do
well, the guys are out there, the Salvation Army, every day,
it. Yeah,
and I just honor them for being on the front line. So I can't have my people on the front line, and I'm not showing up. So that's what leaders do. And I thank God for covering me. I've been steaming and washing my hands and wearing gloves, and I'm really, really sensitive, and I hope everyone else is to the washing your hands and wearing those gloves and making sure that when people cough, man, folks move now. When people cough, it used to be
Yeah.
when nobody knew, but now everybody's looking and they moving out the way.
Mm,
I asked the guy, man, why didn't you cover yourself up? I was in a store, he just coughed. I said, man, why didn't you cover that up? I mean, I got away from him. I'm like,
yeah.
you should have covered that up, man. I confronted dude. And
Hmm.
man, people are agitated, John. I had a guy confront me at Five Guys. I went in and get a burger, and I don't know, he looked kind of angry, but I didn't pay any attention. But I had an Obama shirt on, and he looked
We froze up. I can't, VJ. I
to
can't hear.
myself, I'm like, how could you? So I was so devastated that all these white people were in the Five Guys in line waiting, and I'm the only brother. And this white guy says, "You're the scum of the earth." And so I went outside and followed him to find out, what are you talking about, man? I don't even know you. What makes you say that? And he didn't have a reason. It just that I presume it was just I had Obama on my shirt. He didn't have a reason. I mean, I think that this epidemic has got people going crazy. It's mentally doing a job on people.
Well, hatred. This is a good time for hatred season. Blaming it on people, and China people are getting blamed for about a bunch of stuff, and African Americans, they're looking at us like we're spreading the disease. Instead of looking at us as victims, we're perpetrators now. So who knows? And he probably was a Trump supporter and just hate you because you had two things going against you: Obama and you being black. You know.
Well, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't hear you good. I think when a call comes in, it does something to my phone and it doesn't allow me to hear at the level I used to hear. So it's okay. Long as you get Val, am I still coming in clear, Val? I just want to make sure. Because I think when calls come in, it does something to the sound. So I just want to
Yeah.
make sure you guys can hear me.
Yeah.
But you can't see me? Okay. I'm going to try to turn my video back on, if I can do that, because I can see me.
And a suggestion: always use a computer. Computers.
Can you see me now?
I can
Well,
see. I
with
can.
long as you can hear me, I'm going to keep going. John, we found out. I wanted to talk. I want you to talk a little bit about. Um, People always say, "When's it going to stop? When's the homicides, the shootings, the killings? When's it going to stop?" And what they don't understand, I was talking to a brother the other day. I remember we went to a prison to talk to the prisoners, and remember the guy that came out and said, "The reason why I'm in prison is because a drug dealer gave my mom some heroin and she died, and I promised I was going to kill as many drug dealers as I could." And and people do things, and then people get locked up, and all while they're locked up, all they think about is how they're going to get revenge for what happened to them. And so while we're on the streets changing lives and making a difference, uh, it's impossible for us, John, to get in the heads of a brother that's been sitting somewhere for 5 or 10 years, watching another brother's moves, hooking him up with his homies, making sure he's close, just to get him when he gets out. We can't stop that. So when people say, "When's it going to stop? When are you guys going to make it stop?" You don't even know how crime works. So if you don't know how crime works, then you shouldn't even say that. That's something I don't say it. You don't say it because we know that there's stuff we can't stop. And I wish people would understand that. They're like, it's not like we're not working hard. We're working hard with people that want to change. But some people are determined to do what they have to do. Can we speak to that a little bit? When's it going to stop?
Yeah. Well, there's a certain segment of the population that ever since America was here, has preyed on people and been criminals. Organized crime has been here forever, probably longer than we've been here, probably. And there's a criminal mindset that can only be changed by a spiritual, um, what can I say, revival in themselves and stuff. So what happens with us is we have a community that won't say no. And here's what I mean about that. If you tell your kids don't go in the cookie jar and they go in the cookie jar, and then you tell them again and they go in the cookie jar and you tell them again, and you never stop them by punishing them, you never stop them by spanking their hands and stuff, they're going to keep on doing it. And grown people, you can't spank them or slap their hands and stuff, but there's certain communities that won't allow criminals to be criminals in their community. There's certain communities that when you were in your criminal lifestyles, you knew there were certain places you could not go, black and white places that you could not go and act crazy. So I'm just saying, we have gotten ourselves into a predicament where crime has become the norm, and we have to one day say no, we're not doing this. We have to one day say, this is not happening, not on my watch, and people will help out. Until we band together as a group of people, there's more good people than there is bad and stuff. Just like you and I were bad at one time, and now something happened in our life. It can happen in everybody's life, man. There's no excuse for staying where you are, in the criminal justice system. There's always going to be police, and there's always going to be racism, but you don't have to partake in it by acting a fool.
I asked older gentleman was always talking about the gangs, and that's all he wanted to talk about. And I asked him, I said, what have the gangs did to empower the families in our community? What have the gangs done to make our community safer, stronger, and prosperous? Just tell me. You talk about them all the time, and you brag about them, and you talk to your kids and your grandkids about what y'all come from. Y'all come from this set. Y'all come from that. But what has it brought positive other than death and destruction and incarceration? What have gangs brought to this community? He was lost, but
Yeah,
yet,
it's all propaganda. It's
right.
all propaganda. It's pimping at another degree. The gang system is pimping on a high level and stuff. Just like a pimp tells his girls, "Hey, I love you. I care about you. I want you to be safe and stuff," and then send them out there to put themselves at risk. The gangs do the same thing. "I love you. I want to take care of you. I got you. I got your back," and then go out here and do this. Okay, what's the difference? Until young brothers realize that there's some pimping going on and stuff, until they realize, and a lot of young gangbangers will get mad at me for saying this and stuff, but if you look in your own gang and see that only 3 or 4 people are prospering, that should tell you something. But the brainwashing that gangs go through, it's a psychological masterpiece and stuff. And people, we have to get to our young people, man. We got to get to them and tell them, you've been, like Malcolm said, you've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and led astray. That's what's happening. And so many brothers sitting in the penitentiary right now today, man, with life sentences, man. They're handing out life sentences all over the nation. That's exterminating our young black men, and we're helping.
Well, I agree with you, and John. I just want to say I think that in this time and day, what is it that's preventing us? We say this message all the time, and what's preventing us? There has to be another system in place that profits, and we know they do, that profits of the self-destruction of our young people, that profits in the ability to keep gangs strong. Because in the 60s, we had gangs, but we weren't killing each other. We
Mm-hmm.
had gangs and we just protected our neighborhoods. We weren't killing each other. It was until, the late 80s that we really started to really hurt each other and kill each other. And that guns started showing up in places and people started using guns. And we started to really have a hatred for each other. When brothers used to have all the different fist bumps and we was bumping fists, man, loving each other. What's up, brother? What's up, bro? Man, I remember I don't care where you went in the country, you seen a brother, you said, "What's up, brother?" And everybody loved each other. Now if you say, "What's up, brother?" Hey, man, I don't know you. Something happened. Something left that unity. And there was a speaker that was saying the only time people get mad about unity is when black folks talk about it.
Hmm. Yeah, it's another thing that happened in our community is money, money and power. Power corrupts absolutely. There's an old saying. And when gangs, even the Black Panther Party, when they was started out with the first school program for feeding kids going to school, as they grew bigger, they changed directions. And so other gangs, as power corrupts absolutely, and things that started out good just got corrupt, man. And then crack cocaine came along, and the ability to make money. Oh man, when you throw money into the game, and it's a wrap. And that's what it is to this day. Young brothers is taking shots at life sentences just to make money. And it doesn't matter how much money they got, they won't stop because it's part of an addiction and it's killing our community. So if you could
And
take crack, cocaine, and heroin out of our communities and Oxycontin, we'd do all right because we'd have to rely on ourselves again.
it kind of hurt me so bad, man. I was just really I was looking at Nino Brown. He was sitting there with all his cronies, and the old man came in and said, "You killing all my people with that poison, man. You killing them." And they hit him in his back, you know. And then they did something. Then they knocked him down, and I just realized that we idolized that movie, and then how many old men got knocked down just because they wanted to recreate that Nino Brown moment. How many elders that confronted somebody got knocked down, and then how many elders that said, "Uh-oh, I better not mess with them drug dealers because they knocking us down now. We don't have no more power." And you think that was done just a coincidence? That was created.
Well, I think there were some African Americans behind that film. So yeah, they were feeding into an unnecessary evil. We have about 2 minutes left at the most, so you better give your part and thoughts.
Well, here's what I want you to do. I want you to talk about, the fathers and their role. What is a father's role during this epidemic? What is the role of a father right now?
It's to go back home and take care of your kids. That's what it is, and we inherently know how to do that. We really do know how to do that. It's time to go back home and take care of your kids. Stay out of the streets, love on your kids. All right.
You've been watching Street Talk, man. My name is VJ Smith, and this is.
John Turnipseed.
And I want you to know, man, we love you and ain't nothing you can do about it. Keep your head up high. Do what you have to do. Last black man thoughts, John.
You said it all. We love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's it.
Valerie, on behalf of Minneapolis Television Network, we want to thank Valerie and all the staff. We want to thank everybody at MTN, man. We love you guys, man. Power to the people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. On behalf of Ron Edwards, we love you.